go and start from the beginning. Tell us about your experience with Maryland Water Service and just right from the beginning.
Since I moved here in 2008, it's just continued to go sky high. It's never like, there's not a break, and now it's just the highest bill I got. Like, my house is completely electric, but my water bill is the highest thing, and it's impossible to pay it. You have to set up the payments for one thing. There's no possible way I can do a bill that high. And I just heard, Rick and Craig just told me a few weeks ago that it's going back up again. There's going to be another increase in it. So how are we supposed to make it?
Yeah, what talk to us about your bill, how much it is, if you don't mind, and what that's done to your family. If you ever, there's been some people who have had their water shut off. Has that ever happened? You can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I just had my water shut off Monday. February 27th, I paid $440 on my water. And then I come home Monday from work. My husband called me, and he said the water shut off. So I called him, and of course you get put on hold for God knows how long. But anyway, finally they told me I had no choice. In order to get it turned back on, I had to pay $564. So I got 2 toddlers in the house. Didn't have a choice. So my bank account is now overdrawn, $300 some. So what's going to happen with next month's bill? I'm just going to get this one caught up, and then my next one, they told me I still owe $285. How? Like, I can't. We've went to drinking water out of that.
You because the water is unsafe, you don't feel it's safe, and it smells, and
oh yeah, it's absolutely not drinkable. No way.
Talk to me about that. So you're forced to pay $6,000 a year plus for water. Okay.
Yeah, it's not even drinkable. If you want to, when the baby was just a baby, in order, for her bottles or anything, she boiled the water. She had to do all that for, and it's not.
What's the condition of the water? Can you tell me some detail about that?
If you drink it straight, it's going to make you sick. I can tell you that. I couldn't do it.
How does it make you sick?
It makes you gag. It's just not. It smells nasty. It's just not water I would drink, and not let my family drink it. No.
So you, out of concern for your family, besides paying
the ridiculous bill,
you to make sure your family has water to drink, you have to also buy
the bottles for that. Yeah, the bottles for that's like $6 a 5-gallon bottle, and then soda, juice for my grandkids, and this water's not. And water's like the most. They should be drinking water over anything. Nah,
whenever you got word about your water being turned off, and I'm so sorry to hear that. You said you waited on hold for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to me a little bit about your dealings with Maryland Water Service, like wait times and how responsive they are and how compassionate they are, or lack of?
They were not compassionate at all. I told them, I said, I have 2 toddlers in that house. I just sent you a payment of $302 on the 2nd of March. They would not, it didn't matter, regardless whether I sent that or not, with the proof of a pay stub to give them, or a money order to give them the numbers. It wasn't good enough, so they still wanted that $302 plus in order to turn it back on. And that's why I didn't get to go to the meeting, because I was on hold. And I deliver from Walmart, so I had to go back to work, try and do it again, and it's, they didn't, when I first called, my husband called me a little bit till 3 and told me I had to pick up my grandson at school at 3 o'clock. So from talking to him, picking up my grandson, and you have to get a hold of them by 3:30, I think it is, 4 o'clock, or else they're not going to come back and turn it on anyway. So waiting on hold, and then they send you to a different number to call to make a payment, and then you have to call them back with the confirmation number, and hopefully you can get it done by 4 o'clock, because if not, you ain't getting it that day. And they just didn't care. If and then on top of that, you got to pay $2.25 per payment, and then on top of that, it's $25 reconnect fee. Like, how much more do they want?
So you had to pay them a fee just to process your payment, and then you had to pay a turn-on fee after you had already notified them that you paid how much?
$302.
and to have your water turned back on with small children in your home, babies. I saw
she'll be 2 in July.
a little 2-year-old baby. You told them that, and you still had to pay how much?
$564.
$564. And you, out of concern for the safety, care, health, and welfare of your family and those babies, you have to buy bottled water just to make sure that they don't go thirsty for lack of what you feel safe water.
Right, exactly. It's not safe for them to drink as babies. It's not.
Let me ask you. One of the common stories that we've seen all across the service areas are people who have to make choices between, do I have enough money to, I have to pay my water bill, because you have to have water. Why is water important?
For cleanliness and for, just to, safety, and you have to have water.
Nutrition.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, so the, across the board, we've seen people who've said things just like, we have to buy paper plates and plastic utensils because we can't afford water to wash our dishes. We've seen people say to us, I'm afraid to flush my toilet. I'm afraid to take my. Can you talk to us about if you've had any of those challenges? Can you go into detail about that?
The toilet don't get flushed unless it's.
Yeah, can you? Just for the benefit, can you tell us about what that's like? What's it like? About those things. How challenging is it, water? The fear of using it. Can you go into detail about that?
Well, it's almost to the point where you got to go to the laundromat to do your laundry rather than doing it at your own home. It should be a convenience because you have a washer and dryer at your home, so you don't have to run to the laundromat, take time out of your day. You can do it at night, whatever. But it's almost to the point where I'm going to have to do that. I got 2 toilets in here, and when it absolutely has to be, is when they'll flush it. And then I do have the paper plates, the plastic bowls, and the silverware out there. The less dishes I got to wash, the better off. And
just a fear of the cost.
Yeah, my husband said there's a river right out back there. He said he's going to start taking a bucket and putting it in the toilet to flush it. So, it's just unacceptable. Maryland Water Service is ridiculous. And I'm sure the president or whoever owns it is sitting back at his mansion not caring about any of us.
The choices that you're having to make, how does paying $500, $400 and $500 a month, how does that affect choices that you have to make for things like medicine, things like clothes for your family?
It means I have to work more. I have to work I drop my grandson off at 8:30, and then I get right to work, and I usually don't come home from work until around 7, 8 o'clock at night, and that's 7 days a week.
And you work those hours, those hours beyond that 40-hour week just to pay the water?
To pay whatever is, yeah, because I know it's coming now, and it's not what I expected to have. And now if I want to make it, if I want my grandbabies to have extras, I don't have a choice. Like they have to have, to play football. The water takes that extra amount for shining him up. So I can't,
As that high cost of water, you're working more than 40 hours a week just to be able to pay for water, which takes time away from you being able to see your family in the evenings. If you could give any message to the county commissioners and the state legislative delegation and federal legislators, can you in detail talk about the Maryland Water Service, your struggles, and how we need their assistance?
We need them to step up for us. We voted for them to do what's right for us. They need to listen to us. We elected them for a reason, because we believe in them. If they can't believe in us enough, maybe the next semester they won't be there. So they need to care a little bit more about what we need than anything, We the people, they work for us. So they need to do something.